for joining me on Presley Mania. My name is Rhonda, and if this is your first time to my channel, if you enjoy the content that you are about to hear, please be sure and hit that subscribe button. If you are returning to my channel and you have not yet subscribed, I really would appreciate it if you would just hit that little button and it will alert you every time I do a show. Well, there is a little bit of Elvis news going on. A couple of things that I wanted to go over. This is going to be more of an update show. It's been a week for me. This was chemo week for my husband, and so I have gotten very little done in the office as far as work is concerned, but oh my goodness, I so wanted to get a show out to you guys because I appreciate you all so much. Your faithfulness and dedication to my channel means the world to me. So, one thing, first of all, in Elvis news, there is a new motion in the Bridget Cruz Priscilla Presley lawsuit in Orange County, Florida, and it is an order granting motion for oral argument and requiring evidentiary hearing. Okay, what does this mean exactly? Okay, well, if you guys remember, the last thing I read to y'all was from Priscilla, and it was from her and her attorney stating why they did not want to let that second amended motion be put into the works with the trial. Also, they wanted it dismissed. They wanted the whole thing dismissed because they're claiming that Florida has no jurisdiction over Priscilla. Well, I wanted to read to you or tell you a little bit about what this order means. It says, this cause came before the court on plaintiff's motion for oral argument on defendant's motion, which is Priscilla, to dismiss, filed on January 23rd, 2025, motion for oral argument, and seeking a hearing on the underlying defendant's motion to dismiss plaintiff's second amended complaint for lack of jurisdiction and failure to state a claim, filed November 19th, 2024. Okay, well, it goes on, and what it basically says is that the judge is going to allow the evidentiary hearing and oral arguments. He is giving them basically a 1 hour time slot, if I'm reading this correctly. Yes, the motion for oral argument seeks a 1 hour non-evidentiary hearing on the underlying motion, and upon review of the parties' respective submissions pertaining to the underlying motion, the court finds it necessary to conduct an evidentiary hearing on the underlying motion. So I guess it also says here the motion for oral argument is granted. So they are going to coordinate and schedule the evidentiary hearing pursuant to business court procedures and guidelines. So that's coming up. So we should know more once we get a date set for this. They had originally set one, but I'm wondering if it's going to be pushed back a little bit. We will soon find out on that end. So that is the latest on what is going on with the evidence, with the court and whatnot with Priscilla. Okay, I will tell you that they did do an order to reschedule the court hearing to June 24th of 2025 at 9:30, but this order may supersede that, the one I just read before. So if I get more information on it and exactly when it is, I'll be sure and let you guys know. It's just, at this point, things have been changed so often in this court case. I am not comfortable saying that's going to be the definite date. So we'll just have to wait and see. In other news, Marion Cocke, she was one of Elvis's nurses, has passed away. she wrote a book called I Called Him Babe. I don't know if any of you have it. It's this one right here. And Marion, it's a very easy read. I was gifted this book from a friend of mine. It was her mother's, and when her mom passed away, she was a huge Elvis fan. They gave me a bunch of the things that she had collected that were Elvis's, and this was one of them. And I've heard this book isn't easy to find now, so I'm very, very, very happy to have it. Marion Cocke, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about her. She met Elvis in January of 1975. And I noticed that Priscilla had posted a picture of Marion in the middle and Priscilla on one side and Lisa on the other, and had basically, let's see, what was it that she said about her? Let me pull it up. If I can find my notes here. There we go. And it said, Marion, you will be greatly missed. Your spirit touched many people, and especially Elvis. You were the person that he always counted on. Thank you for always taking care of him. So that was a very nice thing to say, but it got me thinking, and I thought, well, how well did Priscilla know Marion? Because in 1975, Priscilla was not in the picture anymore. Linda Thompson was. And, you know, there are many famous shots of them, of Elvis and Linda walking down the hallways of the hospital together, of Linda going into the hospital, leaving the hospital. So I was curious just how well Priscilla knew Marion. And so I pulled her book out again, because sometimes I read so many different things that I get them mixed up. And so the best way for me to make sure I'm telling you guys the truth is to go get the book and start looking. And so sure enough, I've opened up her book and I started just kind of browsing again. And Marion says that Elvis talked fondly about Priscilla, told her that he would always love Priscilla, and that he bragged about Lisa. Let me read you a little bit. He said, you know, Mrs. Cocke, I'll always love Priscilla. Lisa, his daughter, was a favorite subject. How he loved that little girl. She was really the bright star in his life. And he admitted that he found it very hard to discipline her, but that he tried to be a good daddy. He bragged about Priscilla as a wife and mother and always said she was a special person. Well, you know, I'm going to say that that is Marion's recollection of what Elvis told her. But I think Elvis, as a rule, didn't speak badly about Priscilla in front of others. Now, there were some that he did, and there are some of the Memphis Mafia that don't have nice things to say about her at all. It's because they saw a side of her that others didn't. They weren't around her that much. So by the time Marion came on the scene, Priscilla wasn't there. But she did meet Priscilla, and she said that when she met her, that she was very kind, and said that Elvis had talked about her. She said, it feels like, you know, I already know who you are because Elvis has mentioned you so very, very much. Let me see. Let me read this to you, what they said. I perched on the side of Lisa's bed and we talked a few minutes. I told Priscilla that Elvis had always spoken only good things about her. In fact, only beautiful things to say where she was concerned. She said, I thank you for that. What a lovely thing for you to say. We chatted a few minutes more, after which Elvis said to Priscilla, honey, have I ever told you how much this lady means to me and how good she has been to me? To which Priscilla replied many times. He said, "She has worked all day and taken care of me all night, and she has always come when I needed her." So I guess, we always question, did Elvis really love Priscilla? Was he sad that their marriage was over? Well, according to Marion, he only had good things to say about her. And I don't find that unusual, but I don't think it means that he wanted her back. I think it means that he loved her because she was Lisa's mom. Now, we all know that, or at least in my opinion, I feel like that Priscilla was not a great mom to Lisa at all. And especially in light of the fact that she was on the board of trustees for Lisa's estate and was taking a gargantuan salary, $900,000 a year, to manage Lisa's trust. Okay, does that make her a bad mom? Well, I don't think it certainly makes her a good one. We know that she and Lisa had a very tumultuous relationship. Was it because she was trying to keep her thumb on Lisa all the time, or was it something else? And we've talked about this so often. And you guys know how I feel where she's concerned, but I wanted to be fair and give you a little bit about Marion's recollections of Priscilla. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things and how generous Elvis was with her. Marion says, it says in the back of the book that, and in the book as well, that Marion would not take a salary for coming out to Graceland and staying with Elvis and working with him to help him. But Elvis compensated her greatly for the time, and I don't think there is any doubt that Elvis did love this lady and that she was precious to him because he was so kind to her. It says that when he left the hospital, and I'm guessing this was in January of 75, I'm thinking, maybe the first hospital stay. Yes, the first hospital stay, she said it lasted about 3 weeks, and that when he left, she said he didn't leave without first saying goodbye to Miss Cocke, as he called her. He thanked her for taking care of him with a gold filigree cross dotted with 13 diamonds and flecks of black onyx on it. Through tears, she tried to refuse the gift, but Elvis persisted. He simply said, "Yes, ma'am, this is for you," and put it on her. Several weeks passed before she saw Elvis again, and one evening while driving home from work, she wondered how he was doing. And she says it was the darndest thing. This is an interview from Elvis, Australia. And it says it was the darndest thing because Dr. Nick called that night and said that Elvis was sick again. And he said that they are going to put him back into the hospital. And so would she get a room ready for him at Baptist Hospital? Well, he arrived at the hospital and she said he was in good spirits. And one of the first things he said to her was this: "By the way, Miss Cocke, I've ordered you a car and it will be here tomorrow." So that's our guy, ever giving and loving. And she answered and said, "Well, that's really nice of you, Elvis, but I don't need a car." And through a puzzled stare, he replied, "Well, whether you need it or not, it's been ordered and it'll be here tomorrow." As promised, the next day, Elvis interrupted her bed-making duties and told her to look out the window. Following his finger to the 18 floors below, she saw a white 1976 Grand Prix. And I remember those 76 Grand Prix. In fact, there's a picture in here, and I'll try to find it and show you of her with the car. He dangled the keys in his hands, and Marion quickly grabbed them, and a couple of the house supervisors on her way down to see the new car Elvis had purchased for her. When she returned to the hospital later that night, Elvis said, "Miss Cocke, I just want to tell you one thing. The next time I give you a car, would you remind me that I want to make sure my bed is made before I give you the keys?" Ever joking, the sense of humor, and can't you just imagine that laugh? And Marion even said that he had the most infectious laugh she had ever heard. Well, I have to agree with that, because when I hear Elvis laugh on some of the different shows and stuff like Elvis That's the Way It Is, especially, I get so tickled. Or on the recordings that we've heard where he starts laughing in the middle of the song, I can't help it. You just can't help but listen to him and start laughing yourself. It is a very contagious laugh, is it not? And I just love that. Okay, so the next one of the other things he gave her at Christmas time, he gave her a diamond ring, and I guess it was lots of diamonds or one big diamond. I don't recall exactly, but I do remember he gave her a diamond ring, and he also gave her a TLC necklace. And I wore my TCB today because it made me think of that I needed to put mine on. Anyhow, he gave her a TLC, and shortly before Elvis left us, he said to her that he wanted to give her one with diamonds. And she told him no, that she did not want one. And he said, "Well, I want to give you one." And she said, "The one I have is perfectly good enough." And she said, "I've never taken it off, and I will never take it off." Can't say I would blame her. She said he put it on her neck and it stayed there. Can you imagine? I can't. All right. There were a couple of other things that I wanted to talk about with Marion. She speaks very lovingly about him. She says about Ginger that she was always kind to her, that she didn't have anything against her, and that they talked about their marriage, but then in quotation marks she has question mark, like she wasn't, I took it to read like she wasn't sure if that was going to happen or not happen. And obviously, you know, Elvis left before we ever got to find out for sure. But anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. I loved this. She said that Elvis, one night, there was a girl that was working for him, and her name was Maggie. And I would like to talk more about her. She's very interesting, her story with hers and Elvis's. Maybe we'll get into that one day. And anyhow, let's see if I can find it. I wanted to tell you what she said. Anyway, he asked, Maggie, I guess, brought up some coffee to him. They were sitting in Lisa's room, and she brought up some coffee. And as Maggie was walking out, Elvis made a comment and said that her backside was getting a little wide. Marion just kind of sat there and kind of scooted down a little bit, and she said that something about Elvis, I guess, had wanted her to get up, or I wish I could find it exactly what she said so I quote it right, and I should have marked it, and I did not. But basically, she was not going to get up because she was afraid that Elvis was going to remark about her backside as well. And she said pretty much the same to him, like, mm-mm. And she said he turned kind of red and started laughing. She said, because that was what he was thinking. So she knew him well enough to know his sense of humor and that he was going to mess with her too. Okay, as promised, I found the picture. Oh, I found one more thing also. I found the picture of the Grand Prix, but also there is a picture of Marion in a mink coat that Elvis gave her as well. And you'll also see when I hold this up, there is a picture of Elvis in concert in Memphis in 1976. So here we go, y'all. Can you see it? Okay, so we've got Marion and the car. Let's see, I think I'm pointing to the wrong thing. Here, up here. Her and the mink. And our sweet, sweet man right there in concert doing his thing. Anyhow. But anyway, Marion, rest in peace. She was very active in, I believe, her church. She loved Elvis. She worked as a nurse for a very long time. She has some interesting stories. There was a story about Elvis and taking her to Las Vegas, her and her daughter to Las Vegas on the Lisa Marie, and she had to go to work the next morning, and he made sure he didn't have a pillow for her, so he took the guys' jackets and he rolled them all up and made a pillow for her so she could sleep before she had to, so she wouldn't be so tired when she went into work the next morning. I mean, just thoughtful things. If you have the book and you haven't read it, I recommend it. Like I said, it's not anything super deep or controversial or anything, but there are some really, really sweet stories about Elvis, his generosity, his love for others, and she talks so kindly about him and how much he loved Lisa, and she talks about Lisa a little bit in here as well. And Lisa asked her one time, because I guess Marion pretty much always wore the same shoes to Graceland all the time. And Lisa asked her, do you have another pair of shoes? And Marion said, well, yes, why do you ask? She goes, well, I've never seen you wear another pair of shoes, and those are the only ones I've ever seen you wear. So the next time Marion came, she made sure and put on a different pair of shoes so she could prove to Lisa that she had other shoes. And then Lisa asked her how old she was. And Marion was 49 at the time. And Lisa said, does everybody at 49 have gray hair like you, have gray in their hair? And she said, well, my daddy have gray in his hair when he's 49. And Marion said, well, your daddy will probably never have gray hair. Well, we all know that he did. And he covered it up. And Lisa said, well, when I turn 49, and if I have gray hair, I'm going to dye mine so you won't see it. Well, Elvis was there when she said this to Marion, and he thought that was hilarious. And our little Spitfire girl, that's what she was. I don't think that she had a shy bone in her body when she was at Graceland. She ruled the roost when she was there. And I know that Elvis loved her dearly. Anyway, that's all I have for y'all. This is just a little video. It's lighthearted. It's nothing deep, but I wanted to remember Marion. I wanted to talk about her book and some of the things she had written about Elvis, and just remember some special things about her and about him, and even about Lisa. So until next time, remember, you only get one shot at this life, so live each day to the fullest, because you never know what tomorrow's going to bring. See you all hopefully next week. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.